Okay. All right. I was like, did you hear me? Is my thing? Okay, here we go.
I thought I was
Okay.
unmuted.
You were not.
Yeah.
Really just wanted to go over, like, you are going to have your phone in your hand at this time. Like, this is not a Kyra is going to preach to you and breathe you all the fire kind of thing. More of like, hi, let me help you work your social media, because at the end of the day, that is actually your business storefront. We are very blessed at the fact that we don't have brick and mortar. We don't have inventory. We have us. And that's the best thing that you can have right now, because guess what? You don't go interrupted, right? It's just you. And it's your decision right now of what you show up like. The thing that I want you to remember, I want to say this first and foremost, is that what you do right now matters in 3 to 4 months. So if you are sitting stagnant right now, or if you are waiting for time to pass, or if you are just like gonna get by, you may get by right now. And then in a couple months, when maybe you see other people going really steady, when you see other people doing all the things and you have FOMO or whatever you would want to call it, and you're like, why is it not working for me? You have to ask, what were you doing 3 or 4 months ago? So maybe right now you're feeling kind of like stagnant. You don't really have a lot of traction. The thing that I want you to do is give yourself grace, forget about that, and start right now. Like, if you don't have a lot of conversations going, that means we're going to build content, because in order to have connections, you have to have content. So I went through my social media, like, it was really quick. This is not going to be, oh my gosh, this is what I did, but kind of to give you an example. And then we're going to work through your last post. And if you do not have a post that really did a call to action or something that you could physically invite to, like this past week, I don't want you going to a post from 2 months ago and being like, remember when I posted about this and did you want to join me? That's not what we're here for. So I talked about like how I felt before and how I feel now. So it's really a lot of the feel, felt, found method. And for you guys who are new or are new to working the business, the feel, felt, found is really like putting yourselves in their shoes. So for me, like, I was plus size for a long time, and I understand what it feels like to think that you can never be different. That was my mindset for forever. And when I talk to people, I definitely let them know, like, sister, I know how you feel. I know what it feels like to have no friends. I know what it feels like to have no connections. I know what it feels like to not have that support system. I know how it feels like to think that you cannot start a fitness routine because you don't have one, which is silly, because you don't know how to drive until you start driving. And the same with your fitness journey. So in this post, I really talked about the fact of like, I always thought that I couldn't be successful. I always apologized for being too much. I always did A, B, and C. But I know, like, I no longer have those feelings. Now my life looks like this because I decided to make it like that. So from this, like, I have all the likes that I have on there. Okay. It does not matter if you have 75 or 700. Those are people that you're able to talk to and connect to. So because this is an open invitation post that I personally have, what I would do is go to this post and I would click on the people who have liked it, and I would go through. Obviously you're going to weed through people that are like on our team. I'm not going to message you and say, thank you so much for liking my post, because that's a waste of your time, right? But I would go through, and the first thing that I would do is thank them. I can't remember. I was watching them show and doing this at the same time. I can't remember what I did. I'm really sorry, friends. Okay. So in order to have like the invite process, you have to be able to have content to go from. So what I would do personally is go through from my post and send them invitations. So what I would talk about here is like using the tools that you've got. So meaning if you are creating content, and this is a big thing to remember, I don't need every single post to be an invitation post. I don't need every single post to be like, oh my gosh, join me. Here's my boot camp. Here's my opportunity. Here's my new business. I'm a Beachbody coach. Like, I don't need it to look like that, because the thing is, like when you sit down to eat a meal, most of us don't just sit down and eat only meat. We do need some sides. We do need some salt and pepper. We do need some condiments. We do need a side salad. We do need all these other things to make a meal. And that's what your post should be like. You should be getting them those sides, the dessert, like all of the other stuff, and then offer them the meat and potatoes. And if you're not doing that, you're going to get people who are sick of meat and potatoes. Like that's just what it comes down to. So unless you're offering those sides, like you're not going to have as much traction. So when I tell you like use the tools that you've got, this is where we're going to do the action hour. This is where you're going to get your phone, you're going to sit down and you're going to do this. And I want to explain kind of like the behind the scenes of it, because more than likely, maybe you're like, okay, I want to make a post like this. So let's pretend Amber goes and sets up her tripod, has her daughter take her picture and post a post just like this, and then does nothing with it. And then is like, why am I not getting signups? Why am I not getting working coaches? Why am I not getting A, B, and C? Well, because you guys, this is step one, not the final step. That's what I have to do. I have to give them content to consume so that I can connect with them. So what I would do is go through in my post. So this first part, I'm really going to talk about Instagram. I'm going to let Deidre talk a little bit more about on Facebook, because me personally, my Facebook does not love me. I don't even know, because they are like, no thanks. But like whenever you have your Instagram and you are giving them content that they can consume, you are being able to build friendships. So what I want you to do right now is get your phone out, and I'm going to go to your stories first. So I showed you a screenshot of my stories this afternoon. What I did here is I scrolled. Like I did not go to the top part, because Instagram is super smart and it does like you're most connected with people at the top. Well, I love you all so much, but most of you are at the top of mine. So I'm like, I don't need to talk to you guys. You already know if you want to get a hold of me, you can send me a message. So I just scroll down. And the thing that I do first, before I even push this, I guess I almost pointed with my finger. Before I even push this little arrow right here, I'm going to push this right here, because I want this person to know I actually see her. And more than likely, a lot of people, if they're not into network marketing, they're not into social media, they probably have like just three stories. And usually it's their kid or whatever. It's really, really quick, which is not taking a lot of time. When I say I don't watch stories, what I mean is I try not to watch stories that are not moving my business forward. And there are times and places for that. But at the end of the day, like that's not what's going to help me or help you. So I am going through first and foremost, like scrolling down past like what I would like to say the icing. I'm going to go down to the cake. I guess I'm really hungry and I just realized I didn't have dinner. So maybe that's why I'm telling you all about the food analogies. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to like watch her stories. And let's just pretend Megan right here, like she posted something about nails or whatever. I'm going to, swipe up and I'm going to heart it. I'm going to interact with it. And then I would either comment like, oh my gosh, I love that color. Where did you get it? Only if you genuinely mean it. And that is the biggest thing that I have to emphasize here. Because if you were like, oh my God, I love your shirt, where'd you get it? And like, it is clearly from 1970 and you actually hate it. Like, I'm going to go back to your page and be like, she would never wear that. I'm going to feel like Regina George when she's like, oh my God, I love your bracelet. Where'd you get it? I'm not going to feel genuine with that connection. So what I want you to do right now is go to your stories. And I hope and pray that you have stories that are current, because you are working this business. And I want you to go through and I want you to scroll down. And this is where we're going to have our connection time. This is not the invite time. You are not inviting right now. You are building connections with the content that you have created. Now, granted, I can't see everybody, but if you have any questions or like, oh my gosh, what should I do? Put them up in the chat box and I can look at them, I think. Let me make sure. Oh, okay. I'm like, Cheerio box. So, okay. So what we're going to do, you're just going to go through, like I said, scroll down a little bit. And this is where you are going to be able to have actual connections. And once again, it's very much like what you do right now will benefit you later. So definitely get out of that mindset of, I have to sell a challenge pack right now. Because if you get into that mindset, it's going to breathe through what you're doing. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that you're doing right now. And if I do see it, if it's a coach, I'll maybe give her a little love to see that I see her, but other than that, and then I'll swipe out of her story.
Are you going to like a particular I mean, I babble a lot on my story. Like, are you, I guess
So
I'm not really honest for me,
that's
maybe
okay.
for other people.
Um, so I have two different ways of doing that. I'm glad you asked that. So right now that I'm just building connections and not invitations, I don't care what story I'm on. Like I'm just going to go through and I'm going to just love on it. If I was doing an invite where I am asking them to join a boot camp and I have gone through all of my slides where I talk about the entire boot camp, what they get, everything, all the things, and like where I put the email Dropbox, even if no one then sends me their email, I go through to that slide where I finish the conversation. And if they made it through, then I go through and do my invitation process from there. But this one, honestly, I just go through for connection. And the reason I showed this here is to be like, this screen is nothing. It was my connection that I had with my newsletter is what I had. But I mean, they viewed it. I see that they viewed it, and I just really want to have the most connections as possible. As my story goes, I mean, like I lose 100 people in 2 slides. So it's like, that's so many less connections. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. I guess as I'm doing it, another thing that I run into, I have a lot of other network marketers that follow me. So like a lot of Thrive, a lot of Airbon, Unique. I don't look as competition at all because I mean, I could sell makeup and still work out. I do look at things like Thrive and Airbon as competition just because they offer supplements like we offer. I will purposely watch all of their stories and love on them because you never know when they get a sour apple or whatever you'd want to call it, and they're looking for actual people to join or whatever. I want to show them support no matter what. Now, I'm not going out and like commenting on every single one of their posts, obviously, but with this part, that's what I'm doing.
Well, and I also want to hop in because the thing that I get told or asked most often is like, but what do you say? And I think you need to not overthink it. Like you're just being a human right here. Like you're just genuinely connecting. It's if you're going into your story seeing like, okay, who can I sell a challenge pack to? Well, that's why you feel some sort of way about it. And that's why you feel like you can't be their friend, because that's not the goal when you're making connections. The goal when you're making connections is to get to know them. It's to love on them. They're loving on you. They're following all your stuff. Let them know that you're an actual human being on the other end and not just somebody who's trying to sell them and move forward.
So an example of that, it's perfect timing that she just said that. I don't know this girl at all. I don't think I've ever seen her on my stories before. She says, enjoying the sun. She's sitting out on her patio. Her son is just playing. And I'm going to comment like, but for real though, this sun is giving me life. I mean that. Like if you go to my stories, I literally sat outside for half an hour today, just sitting outside. And I think that's the thing that it gets overlooked or like you said, overworked is that like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to say? I don't know. Do you like the sun? So comment that you like the sun. That you're just being a person right now.
Yep.
So like same thing here. I am clicking through and a girl that I kind of know her, don't really know her. We kind of connected back and forth, but when you are not consistent with connecting with people and they're way far down and it's like, damn, I don't remember what I said to her last. Like, do I pick up where I left off kind of thing? She just has like a meme in her thing. I guess that's what it is. It's just words. But the second line of it says something about laughter. So this is going to be my plug into like, I do something in my life that may interest you, or I see you watching what I'm doing. So I'm going to bring that up. It talks about laughter. And if you followed me for any period of time, you know that the number one thing that I am grateful for every single day is the sound of laughter. So I'm literally just going to, even though she watches my shit and probably already knows that, I'm just going to reiterate that. There's a lot of times where I find that people already know, but the fact that I make the personal connection and tell them like, oh my gosh, let's have a personal conversation about this, it makes them even more interested because they're fangirling. So even though maybe you have mentioned it before, don't feel like you can't start a conversation with somebody about.
Do you guys have any suggestions? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. On people who do not post a lot on Instagram or their social media and don't have stories, but they follow your stuff, like as soon as you post it, like what do you do with those people? So I thank them a lot, but like there's just crickets. So I don't know how to connect with them, I guess, if like I don't even know them. They're just on me like flies on rice, but I don't know what to say to them.
Are they real people? Like, I don't mean that in a mean way, but like, are they real people, not robots?
Yeah, no, they are. Like I know some of them, like friends of friends kind of thing. Like I know who they are, but I don't personally know them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you've already thanked them quite a bit of times and they're just ghosting you.
Yeah, like for the last year.
I mean,
Kelsey, right now, just tell them that you hope they're doing good. Everyone wants to hear that right now. Just like, hey, I hope you're doing well.
Okay, I can do that.
most of the time, mine is like,
I don't know how many times to thank you without like.
mine turns into, after a lot of thank yous and they haven't said anything, I'm like, girl, like I see you watching my stories. Literally, it like lights me up, or it makes me so happy to see you doing this. If you're already watching, why aren't you doing it with me? Like, and kind of give them like that out to be like, it's okay. Like, if you're scared, like, I just would love to know, you seem so interested. What can I do to help you? That's personally how I do mine. And like, I mean, I have quite a few of my coaches who sign up like that because it is very much like they do watch me for a long time before they say yes. So that's how I move into that. But that doesn't mean that it's the only way to do it.
Okay.
I'm going to give just a few more minutes and then we're going to move over to your post invite, like the one that I had before, of kind of like, what are you inviting to right now? Like, if someone went to your page, what could you respond to invite them to?
I'm actually struggling with that right now, just because I was in like competition prep mode and wasn't doing a group challenge, and I'm not doing 10 rounds at the moment. So it's like, okay, well, now what do I do?
Okay, so are we all open and available for Tough Love, or is that not available for this call? I need to know because I'm totally okay with either one.
Give it to me, it's fine.
Okay, so anybody who doesn't want Tough Love, go ahead and go to the bathroom, go pee, go do something else, because I'm going to give you Tough Love. You are the only channel that's on the TV, and you need to know that. It does not matter what program you're doing. It does not matter what any of that is. What matters is that you are committed to it. So if you are not doing competition prep anymore, which I am not judging either way, 100%.
Oh, I'm still doing it.
Okay, then you're just inviting
I
to
love you.
the journey, like legitimately. They don't have to do, I have girls who join me who absolutely do not want to do 10 rounds, and that's okay. I offer the fact that I am allowing them early access to this program, but the bonus is they're getting the entire year of workouts. Mm-hmm. I'm inviting to the fact that I have a community. I'm inviting to the fact that I have a way to get them weekly meal plans, that I have a challenge group. That has 0% to do with what program you're doing, right? So it's just a limiting belief that you have that, well, I'm not doing 10 rounds like everybody else, so I can't invite. And so
I'm gonna follow up with some tough love after that. Like, if you don't have something to invite to, what business are you running? Like, I'm
right, for sure. I think the thing is, like,
this is a life, like she said, that's a lifestyle. And it's like, you can always find something, whether it's a 3-day group, whether it's a 5-day group, whether you do your own 21-day boot camp. Like, I think that's the thing is, a lot of the times I see new coaches who are waiting for someone else to like, oh, well, I need someone else to start this boot camp idea or whatever that is. And I see people waiting on me a lot. And that's the only reason I say this. I didn't wait on my coach. And that's why I was successful. Like, I was like, I can do this. I'm going to run my own thing. And I know the next thing that I get told is, but I only have a few people. For the first 2 years of my business, my boot camps were 10 people or less, like 100%. And you know what I was able to do in those first 2 years? I helped 3 people lose over 100 pounds, like hands down. So you can't say that having just a few people in your boot camp isn't successful. And I only say that because I know it's a limiting belief for a lot of people. It's just, it is what you make it. And you kind of have to think of it from a business aspect. What are you inviting to? Are you just sharing to show off? And I know that's not what you're doing, but are you just sharing to show off? Or are you actually running a business where you have a game plan for success, where you have a place for people? And I did a video the other day in our 10 rounds test group where I just said, like, you have to have some sort of funneling system. If you don't know what you have to offer these people, if you don't know where you want to eventually end them up at, if you don't know the steps to get there, then what are we doing? We're just going through soft motions for no reason.
I think I wrote down on the National Wake Up Call today just about, like, she's like, she doesn't even do graphics. Like, you get so hung up on that. And that's where I was like, oh, I think that's where I'm at. I think I'm stressing myself out about that. And so I'm like, okay, thank you.
Well, and Tara, like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, if I feel like I'm putting words into Kyra's mouth, but I think that this will be okay. If you're actively bringing people into Kyra's group, she's going to let you partner with her. If you're just showing up as a challenger in her group, she's going to be like, go start your own group, because that's the kind of leader that she, you know,
Renee only says that
to push you out of your comfort zone.
I was like, run a group.
From like my own personal experience and it being very recent, like, I get the feelings that you're having. And I believe that I expressed this to Kyra very early in competition prep last year. And maybe it was Deidre, I don't know. Somebody said, it's not our job to include you because you're doing something different than us. You need to include yourself. So even though, you know, like, get in that 10 rounds group, there's a chat or something going on, like, feelings of feeling not part of it are like, you're making those feelings up for yourself. And I only know that because I've been there.
Hashtag quarantine life, just saying.
It's not just you with challenge groups either, Tara. What Renee is saying, I am saying to every single person who is sitting here looking at me right now, if you feel alone, it's because you're making yourself feel alone. Because
100%.
we have, our shit has blown up. Like, and I just say that because I want you to lean in. Like, we have our shoulders, we're here standing, we can't stand by ourselves. So what Renee said in tenfold.
And I also think, like,
love. I love it. I'm good.
Well, to add to that, you made it very public that you were doing competition. I mean, if you literally jump back in and are like, okay, well, now I'm still training, but I want women doing this beside me. I think you'd be surprised how many people are going to be like, okay, well, what do I need to do? Like, I think that's the hardest thing. A lot of people are afraid to invite because they're afraid no one's going to say yes. Well, guess what? No one's saying yes if you don't invite. That's truly how it comes down. So we're going to move on from stories. Like, this is basically how I do my connection. So we don't have to do it for an hour, right? Like, this is you set a timer. This is what I am implementing hardcore, especially now that it is for real school at home and all the things. Set the timer, just go through as much connections as you can, genuinely. Not, oh my gosh, how can I send 25 as fast as I can, but more of like, how many connections can I make in 25 minutes and mean it? So this all goes through this top part where, like, you're doing not just from your posts and your stories, but their stories too, where you're doing the connections. But when you make a post like this and you go through to the likes, this is where you go and you comment a thank you, but it's not just, hey girl, thanks so much for loving on my post. And I know for a fact, because I've had multiple people message me, what do I say after thank you? I'm like, what do you mean? What do you say after thank you? Like, thank you for loving my post. Tell them why you're thankful. Tell them why it was hard for you to make that post. Tell them why that post was important to you, so you can get back to that feel, felt, found method. So you can get back to having them connect with you, because it's not just about you creating content. It's about you connecting with your content. You guys, the post is the first step. You following up is the second. So what I would do, I'm going to go through to that post. I had made that on Friday. Yeah, 4 days ago. That's still enough time. FYI, nobody knows how many days it's been anymore, it seems like. And with Instagram, I'm still getting likes on that post. So that person could have liked it today. They could have liked it yesterday. So I would go through and once again, I connect with the ones most at the top. I'm just going to scroll through, and like from here, I am doing this same thing again, but I'm inviting. So I'm going through to this girl. I know I've talked to her multiple times because she's at the top. I'm going to watch her stories. Oh my God, she has the cutest dog ever. Like, I love him. He's so cute. And I'm going to comment for my connection, but then I am going to follow up with like, sister, like, I see you either liking my stuff. This is what I would say. Sister, I see you loving on my post. It literally means so much to me. I have to ask you, why are you not doing this with me? And if anybody would like to speak up of something that they would say different, you are more than welcome to, because we do not all talk the same, walk the same, invite the same, or post the same. So just because I do it like this does not mean it is correct, and vice versa. So I am personally going through to the people who have liked it, and I'm watching their stories first, because this is actual connections. Does that make sense? Versus just, hey girl, thanks so much for liking my post. Why don't you do this with me? I actually a girl messaged me. I remember it very well. We were tie-dyeing shirts, and she sends me a message and she says, hey girl, have you ever tried Scentsy? I love it so much. I'm pushing to reach a goal to sell $300 worth of product. Can I send you a link? I very nicely replied to her. And I told her, I was like, hey girl, I actually do love Scentsy. I used to sell it myself. And I'm going to do you an even bigger favor. I am not going to buy your product, but I am going to tell you from now on, when you send a message, I want you to go to my page and like on my stuff first. I want you to send me a message and tell me what you like about me, or something that you're thankful for. And I do not want you to tell me that you have a goal. That will be way more valuable than your $300 goal you're working towards. I was like, I'm going to either get a hater or a lover. And she came back. She was like, that makes so much sense. I am just getting started. I had no idea. Thank you so much, Bob. And I was like, you're welcome. I needed that whenever I got started. This is my reminder to you. Care about your people, not about yourself.
Well, and on that too, if you feel some type of way over a message that someone sent to you, I think 100% what Kyra said, you got to talk about it. And you can take it as a lesson learned, like, okay, I don't love the way that they did that, so I'm not going to do that. But I actually have a transformation. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can, that I'm going to be inviting from. So whereas Kyra said something like, why aren't you doing this with me? What I'm going to do is love on them. And then I'm going to say, hey, thanks so much for the love on my transformation. I don't know if you noticed, but it was, my boot camp, blah, blah, blah. Would you want more information on that? Like super simple, super like, thanks for loving on me. Did you want more details? Because sometimes they just love on it just to love on it. And then they'll message me back and be like, oh, no, thanks, but I was just supporting you. Well, then, I know I have a hype girl. So I know if I love on her stuff, she's going to continue to love on mine. Or if she's like, yes, but I'm too afraid to ask, I'm opening that door for her. Like, no strings attached. Do you want information? Where she can be like, oh, yeah, maybe. And so I think the thing you have to remember is just don't overthink it. You don't have to make it this big, complicated, I'm going to word vomit the whole boot camp. Like, hey, I saw you liked my post. Did you want more details? Super simple.
Does anybody have any questions right now? If you do, please unmute yourself or chat. Let me go. I guess I didn't look and see. There's 2 chats. Oh, okay. Oh man, I don't know how to exit out. This kind of goes off your question, Tara, when you were like, what if I have nothing to invite to? Right now, if you don't have a post that you could personally invite to or anything that you've shared with your workouts or anything like that recently, this would be the time when you could create that post. And the thing to remember is I think a lot of people have analysis paralysis and they're like, I have to know exactly when my boot camp starts. I have to know exactly what I'm doing before I could offer it. You don't have to know all of that. You do have to have a general idea. When are you going to start? 2 weeks. Give yourself 2 weeks, because then people can either figure out a payment plan. They can figure out a time that they can get started. You could start prep week in 2 weeks. It's okay. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in like, well, her boot camp's starting tomorrow, so I'm starting mine tomorrow. Well, if you don't have your shit ready, then don't do that, because you're not going to help anybody. So you could make your post of like, I am proud that I am doing this journey, so I'm offering to do it for you to do it with me, kind of thing, or transformation, or a life update and how you're excited for your next boot camp, how it's going to involve A, B, and C. If you want more information, drop an emoji or send me a message in my DMs.
I have another question. So I've been using a lot more hashtags with my posts. So I have like random people then liking some of my transformation posts. And this girl, she's never liked anything before, but she has a private account. She has Wine Makes Everything Better. So obviously I love her already. So should I request a follower, or should I thank her, or do both? Or like, how do you go about that first initial conversation?
I personally just request to follow. Because sometimes Instagram will filter out your message if they're not follow, like if it's not a mutual follow, they could not let them see your message. And so it's like, for me, I just would personally request to join, and then you could follow. I mean, then you could send a message if you want to, but if you don't do the request first, a lot of times Instagram won't even send through that message.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay, I'm going to read out loud Stephanie's question. Where do you go from the response of, I don't know where my next paycheck is coming from, when you're inviting? They're so interested, just scared to do this with the situation right now. I've been wondering how you're getting a yes from some affected by not possibly having a job tomorrow. I think this is going to sound mean, and I 100% do not mean this in a mean way. I don't want anybody to go into debt, and I don't want anybody to take food off their table from their family. I also do not go into the conversation with the scarcity mindset of, I'm afraid they're going to tell me they can't. If someone replies back with like, they literally say to you, no, I can't. I had one today that she said, I just lost my job. I don't have one to go back to, whatever. And I was like, okay, like, what are you willing to do? And what do you need from this? And she just wants the workout. So I got her set up with 3 months of on demand, because something is better than nothing. 3 months of on demand gives her 2 full weeks of free access. Is it SC points? No. But you know what? I'm not here for SC points. I'm here to help people. And people are on the other side of that on demand. So if I get her just a 3-month access, I get her the ability to fall in love with how she feels for 2 weeks. She doesn't get charged $39.95 until 2 weeks from now. It's on the 15th day that she is charged. And I can tell you without a doubt that if she loves this and is like, oh my gosh, I need this, she'll have the money. Like, I don't mean it to sound mean, but that's the truth. So if the thought that you're like, well, I don't know how you're getting yeses. Well, I mean, I have a hell of a lot more no's than I have yeses right now, but that's not stopping me from asking the question, because I genuinely just want to help them. So if they're like, I don't have any money, I just come back with like, okay, well then what are you willing to spend? Because if then they ghost me, they don't want this. And I can't make them do this, and I can't want this for them. The only thing I can do is offer my help. And my help right now is to genuinely give them tools in their hands. You could even be like, okay, but like, what's your budget, or whatever it may be? Maybe they're going to tell you it's $50. Okay. Maybe it's $80. Well, clearly I can get you 3 months of on demand and a tub of unicorn powder. I get you a 10-pack sample of unicorn powder. Like, you just have to be willing to meet them where they're at and come at it for what they need, not what you need. Some of these dang other like influencers are so cute. You're welcome, Katie. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next thing. For those of you guys who do utilize Facebook, I'm going to give you my standpoint on it. It's not the negative one. I'm going to give you the positive one. The best part about Facebook, I feel like Instagram is very curated. It is what it is. And if you don't like it, don't do it. Like, that's just what I mean in the best way possible. If you're like, oh my God, it's so much pressure, I don't like it. Well, then don't do it because it's not blessing you. And for Facebook, the best part about Facebook is that you can just throw God love them, the stupidest shit up there and people will like it. God, does it annoy me. I do not want to know what your child did 17 times a day. I think it's the dumbest. But I understand other people love it. Those aren't my people. And I'm willing to understand that. I used to think that I had to post everywhere all the time in order to help everybody. But I'm not here to help everybody because I can't, because not everybody likes me. And trust me, a lot of people make it very clear that they don't like me. That is the best thing they can do for you, because then you can bless and release and quit trying to save them, quit trying to get them to do this with you. But when you are first getting started, you don't know who your people are. And you're only going to know by being yourself and by sharing. So maybe you do love posting 15 times a day about your kids and what they love and what they like to do, and you have a lot of interaction. Then girl, that's your thing. Like, that's your people, and you have to be okay with that. And with Facebook, the best part about it is just the fact that you literally can share anything and everything. But the downfall and the highest part that a lot of people forget, you have to be consistent, and you do have to show everything. So I need to show what your breakfast looks like. I need to show what your kids are doing for lunch. I also need to see that you worked out. I need to see that you drank your shake. And then I also need to see your family time, because Facebook genuinely wants to know what your whole life looks like. And if you just throw up fitness posts, no, they're not going to like it. I personally just share over Instagram posts that I really love. And I'm doing that for me, not for them. I am literally just trying to be the light. I'm not trying to pull people out of my warm market, which a lot of Facebook is. So that's my point on that. Deidre, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so you pretty much covered it. Is Facebook, you need to be there more. Like, Instagram's great because you could put up one post for the day, like have it, you can plan your whole month in advance if you wanted to on Instagram. Like, that's perfect. That's what they want. They want to see your stories. Facebook, the way that the algorithm works, the way that your audience works, they're used to just, I mean, if you're on Facebook, what are you doing? You're sitting here like this, right? Right? Like, oh, and then in a couple hours, you're going to do it again. And then a couple hours after that, you're going to do it again. Your goal when being on Facebook is that your face is there every single time they're doing the scrolling thing. So you do need to be posting more. But like she said, the cool thing is it doesn't have to be the most inspiring, like valuable thing, because they don't fucking care. Like, you put up, I'm so proud of myself, or look at this, or look at that. They're going to be like, cool, show off. And then they're going to unfollow you. Like, and it just is what it is. It's not that, it's not necessarily, it's just a mindset thing for sure. They're coming to Facebook to laugh. They're coming to Facebook to see someone who they can relate to. They're coming to Facebook to see cute pictures of your family. So those are the things that you should be sharing. And I'm not saying go to the next page and share other pages memes or whatever they are, because you want your feed, when you can go to your Facebook feed, I better see you constantly. I better see your family. I better see the things that you're doing. I better see funny stories. So for example, I'm just going to be honest, I have not ran my Facebook in probably 2 years because I've 100% been focused on building my business. But I built my business from Facebook in the beginning. And what I did was I shared stories about my family. I shared a live video of a cat having kittens in my house, all the funny things that my kids say or do. Like yesterday, or was it today? I don't know. I shared about one of my kids asking Alexa about the tooth fairy. And it's just things that they can relate to. Right now, my thing is sharing what we're doing for homeschooling, sharing the adventures with my husband. My social media loves my husband 100%. So all the pictures that I could share of him with him, like that's what they want. But you do also want to make sure that you're posting things that get interaction. Don't just throw shit up just to throw shit up. Be like, oh yes, you do need to actually think about what you're posting, and you have to think of it in the way like everything you're putting out there, it stands for a part of who you are. It's your business. Like this is your storefront. It can be kind of like a mom and pop shop sort of thing versus like the perfectly curated one amazing post that's so powerful. It can just be kind of like simple, very simple. You don't have to overthink it. Don't make your pictures shitty. You still need to focus on making sure they look good. Just make sure it's in the moment, authentic. You don't have to plan it ahead. Nobody cares about you planning Facebook ahead at all whatsoever. In the moment, very much so. Make sure you're interacting. When you put a post up on Facebook, you need to be able to respond to everyone who responds to it. Like if they're commenting, you need to comment. So make sure if you're putting a post up, you're not posting and then just ghosting, because that's not going to help any of your posts.
Nope.
You want to make sure that you have engagement with your audience, because that's what gets them to your page more. Hopefully that makes sense.
Is anybody here strictly doing Facebook and not Instagram? And like I said before, there is not a wrong way, but you do have to pick what you're doing because they are totally different. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and move into the fact of how Facebook Messenger can really help grow your business inside and outside of your business. So a couple of the tools that are great, obviously Facebook Messenger is one of the best parts is group message. So if you are doing like, okay, I have a lot of new builders who are wanting to get started, I want to be able to help them more at one time, especially if you are a new coach who is pushing to diamond and you are building your team and you have that fear of like, I don't feel like I can or want a team page yet. I genuinely want everybody who is wanting to be a builder to have their team page, but I also don't want you to be discouraged whenever you run a team call and no one shows up, because you will get better by doing that. I want you to understand that, but I also don't want you to get your feelings hurt, because for me, that's personally how I would feel. So with group message, the best part about it is that you can connect to more people at one time, and it's not just your undivided attention. So it can go in there and ask a question and like one person can answer, then one person can feed off of that. It truly turns into like a spider web, which can be good and bad. I think the biggest and the best part about group message is you just have to lay the ground rules. You have to be like, okay, this is what this group is for, and this is what we need out of this. I want to be able to brainstorm. I want to be able to do this. Like all of that is the best thing that you can do for having a group message. And so like I said, if you are a newer coach and let's say you have 5 new coaches and your goal is diamond, you clearly need 12 total people. So if you had you and your 5 coaches in there and you were actively talking to each other, you're going to feed off each other's momentum. If you're working and you're adding people to it, they're going to instantly level up to you. Like that's how it works. So if you have that group message, it's really helpful to either be like, these are my goals, or this is what I want help with, or what do you need help with? What can I do to help you? So that's one of the best parts about that. And then the other part that's really great, if you are building your business on Facebook, this is pretty much a Facebook person thing. That's why I asked if you are building on Facebook. If you would swipe over and go to your active status, you can kind of do the same thing that we did on Instagram stories, where you can literally go through and see who has current stories and do the connections from there from just going to Messenger. So if you are going on and, interacting with them, that's where you're able to have those connections, and you can do the invite process from there, because like I said, their stuff is a lot different. They've probably watched your days, all the things. You don't have to have just one specific post to invite from there, because you're sharing your whole life, if that makes sense. So that's one of the other best things, is that you can go in and see who's active and have connections from there, and then you are able to access their stories really easily. Beth, don't be afraid to start a team page now. Add info and value to your future teammates. That way, when you get a person wanting to run the business, they already have stuff there that is to go at any kind. Absolutely. Like, you can start your team page right now, yesterday, with your team name, all the above, all the things. I just want to make sure that you know that you have an easy way to have instant connections with your people. If you're running to run and you don't want it to just be your group, you can clearly have your group and or your team page, both. Either one is fine. And I know, like Mandy Kai, she's a top coach in the company. She had her own team page for a long time, and she would just record her team calls like we're having right now, and no one would show up. She would use it as her training videos. So she would get in there and explain why Emerald was important, why having your husband signed up is super important. She would use that time as training, and she would post it in her team page. So like when Beth said, whenever you have somebody who is ready to run, who is ready to do A, B, and C, then they can just go through and be like, oh yeah, I watched that video already. So absolutely, that is super, super important. That last part is really for you guys to to know how to use the Facebook tool if you had not already done that for building connections. And the last thing that we're going to do, it's super simple, and I'm going to show you the gist of it, but I'm not going to make you sit here and do it for 45 minutes, is 5-3-1ing. And I really want to break this down, because I think this is definitely overthought and thought that you can't do it. Now, this is for Instagram. That is what I'm going back to, because that is what I know the best.
You could do it for Facebook, but it's made for Instagram. Like, you can do something like this for Facebook. Obviously, it's not in one feed, but same concept. So anybody who has Facebook who's like, oh, I can't do this. Yes, you can. Stop.
Probably just go to their profile. I'd probably just go to their profile and do the same kind of thing. Okay, yeah. It just is different. Like, in my mind, I'm like, it doesn't look the same. I get what you're saying. So for me personally, it's finding the people that is different from Facebook to Instagram. So for Instagram, you follow large accounts. So for one of my newest ones, I have really gotten into like my hand lettering. I have been doing it for a while, and I'm really getting to the point where I'm like, okay, it's making me feel better by doing it. So a couple of the accounts I follow is like Letters by Hand, and then like Ashton Creates. Those are two ones that are larger-ish following, but not ones that like I'm going to keep repeating the same things. So I'm going to go to their page, and they post pretty consistently. So they post more than likely at least once a day. I'm going to go to a post that they made, and they have like 20,000 people who have liked it. That's plenty. It's a big, huge pond to fish out of. So I'm able to go there and look at the people who are liking on their current things, meaning those people are also current, meaning those people have been on Instagram within the last day, and that's the kind of people that I want to connect with. I do not want to connect with somebody who was on 7 months ago, right? So you go to a large account that you like, and large is totally up to you what you do. You don't go to other Beachbody coaches accounts. You don't go to like Thrive, or, we don't go to that. You go to something that's part of your bucket. So for me, like artistic things, blogger style things, hair and makeup. Hair by Chrissy is another one that I really love. She has a huge following, and I never run into running out of people to follow, because I know a lot of people get into that mindset of like, I ran out of people to invite. Oh, you invited all 1.7 billion people? That's awesome. How did you do that so fast? Because you didn't, right? So let's go find new people, and let's go find your people versus just going through randomly and picking somebody. So for me, like I would go to Letters by Hand, and I would like click on her page and go to her recent picture. I'm just going to do it right now. She's like my top one that I lettered by hand, I guess. I'm sorry. I thought it was letters. And she posted a picture 4 hours ago. It's got 1,500 likes on it. So I'm going to click on it, look at all her people who have liked it. And you'll notice people that you follow, like they'll be at the top. So you just do Wheel of Fortune, scroll it down and look. And I'm going to do the same kind of thing from here. So I would go look for somebody who I would genuinely want to be friends with, because at the end of the day, your coaches should be your best friends. Like, that's just what it's supposed to be like. And what you're going to want to do is be like, okay, I'm going to click on this girl's page. She's pretty cute. Looks like she's kind of younger, like a little more college age. I don't normally be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to, love on her. But like, I'm going to back up and go to the next one. Okay. Girl likes lifting heavy. So I'm clearly going to love on her. She loves lettering and she loves lifting. We could be friends. So she has a story. I'm going to go and like her story. This goes with like the liking. So you like right here, like 5 recent pictures of theirs. I want you to also recognize this includes their story. So that does not mean you have to just go and like. What you need is your name to be brought to their attention. That is the whole point of this. So typically you would like, typically you would like 5 pictures, comment on 3 of them, and then you would follow them so that your name is in their notifications 9 times like this, so that they would go back to your page. This is the full circle moment, friends. So you do all of this so that when they go to your page, they see, I meant that to be like all my 9s. They see your page and they're like, okay, I would like her. You can do all of this, but if you don't do this, it's for nothing. This all is a full circle thing. You cannot invite without having connections. You cannot have connections without having content. And you cannot have content if you are not inviting, right? So it is all of the above. So when we're doing 5-3-1ing, I saw this girl, she's super cute. So I'm going to go to her stories. I'm going to look and see what she's doing. Okay. So she's got workout stuff. That's super cute. She's got some kids. They're playing hopscotch. Oh my gosh. Her daughter drew trolls on a box, and I'm going to comment. I'm going to slide up on her story. This is one of my comments. I'm going to comment like, oh my gosh, that is so freaking cute. My daughter loves, and I'm typing like I do with 17 O's and 7 E's and 4 S's. My daughter loves trolls. Oh, and then her next picture is something else cute. So I'm going to love on it. Okay. I am clearly going to be on her radar. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to love on her. She is making at-home fitness. She literally has a bar and a pulley with a bucket full of shit for her at-home gym. How freaking cool is that? So I'm going to comment like, dude, that's badass, because that's how I would talk to her. So that is one person. And this is what you do. And you just set a timer to do that. Once I've done commented on her, I've done the 5-3-1ing, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to the next person. The point is for her to see me so that she goes to my page and decides if she wants to be my friend. And she's only going to know if she wants to be my friend if I'm creating content for her to consume. Does anybody have any questions? I'm hoping you're doing this right now, at least one time, so you can kind of get the feel of it.
Stephanie, your question, so you don't have to actually follow their page, just get your name and their notifications. Like for me, it's personally like, do I think I want to actually be this person's friend? If so, then I'm going to follow them. If not, then no. Like I'm okay with them seeing my name, but if I don't actually want to be their friend, I'm not going to go follow them.
Right. And I'm usually not interacting with him. If I don't like what I see, I'm not giving them love. Does that make sense?
You definitely want to set a timer when you're doing this, because you like, if you actually do it for the joy and because you want to find people that you like, you will go down a rabbit hole for hell. Be like, oh shit, I've been 5-3-1ing for 4 freaking hours.
It is truly one of my favorite things to do.
It's on my joy list.
This was how I built my business. hands down. I remember calling Deidre and was like, I want to run my business on Instagram. And she was like, okay. And this was like before it was like, that's really what you did kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it paid off 100%. Like that's where I don't ever sell from Facebook. Okay. Hopefully you guys have got the hang of that. This is just what I was talking about last. It's the last thing that I have for you guys. This business is just about rinse, wash, and repeat. So what you are doing right now is learning, and you're just this may be a little bit of a gut check. Maybe you already have a routine. Maybe you already have it figured out. You don't have this figured out right now because we're all going through something different. And for the first time in our lives, I think we really have to be open to doing something that we're not used to or comfortable with doing. Like, I did not sit here and watch 15 million stories before, but now people are creating the stories to see who's going to watch them. So that's part of my new routine. Group messaging was not always something that I love doing, but it is part of my new normal because at the end of the day, everybody's needing connections, including my coaches. So what I need to do is offer that to them. And the reason I'm doing it is so that I can set the example for them so that when they are adding more people, when they're becoming the leaders that they want to be, they will do that too. The rinse, wash, and repeat works for your business, but it also works for the people that you're bringing on. They will replicate what you do. So make sure you're showing them what you want them to do. And the only way to do that is by you doing it first. So just make sure you're being real and raw and you, because it will take so much more, like it'll take so much less pressure. It'll take so much less thinking because at the end of the day, you genuinely are the only one who can attract your people. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I hope that maybe it answered some questions. If anybody has any questions, like feel free to drop them right now. I'm not rushing you off the call. I just don't want to make you stay on for forever and a day. It just is truly one of the things that has helped me a ton of the building the connections versus just trying to sell a challenge pack right now, because people aren't looking for challenge packs. They're looking for connections. They're looking for help. They're looking for friendship. They're looking for connectivity, not for you to sell to them. And if you can show up that you genuinely care about them, then maybe that's what they'll decide to do. If not, meet them where they're at so that you can help them find out what is going to help them find their best self. So does anybody have any questions, any concerns? I have no idea what to post, no idea what to do. Anybody? But for real, Deidre, look at the community we have.
Can you guys just make your faces cute for a second so that I can boomerang? Or make your faces not cute. I actually don't give a shit what you do, but I'm going to boomerang. Oh, just kidding.
You took a picture, didn't you?
Yo, let me boomerang.
Maybe I should do it.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Ladies, I am so thankful for you for showing up for this. I think the thing to remember, you're never done learning. You are never, ever done learning in this business at all. You are always somebody that has room for improvement. And I am super proud of you and thankful for you guys for showing up this evening. So I hope you guys have a good evening and I will talk to you later.